All right. So the 80/20 brain command, not a command anymore, it's a skill now, is the first skill that you're going to use inside the brain. Uh, what it does is it essentially packages up a bunch of stuff. That's what a skill is. It packages up a bunch of stuff into one neat little package that you can use over and over again. We'll explain it in more detail later on. This particular one, 80/20 brain, so you invoke this, you kick this off by typing into Claude code /80/20 brain, hit enter, and that kicks off this wizard to help you get your brain set up. So it asks you questions. It basically starts to interview you about you and your business. And then it goes and puts all of that information in the various places. We're going to talk more about context in the next section, section 4. But this is just going to take care of a bunch of that for you. So instead of you having to type out a whole bunch of documents, oh my God, such a painful way to do it. We don't need to do that anymore. We just need to chat with the AI and answer some questions. And if you have set up Whisperflow, or let me say it a different way, if you haven't yet set up some form of using voice to communicate with an AI, now is the time to do that before you run the 80/20 brain skill, before you add all of this context. This wasn't meant to be a slide about Whisperflow, but roads.ai, you've probably heard me say that before. That's my affiliate code for Whisperflow. Use that or not. It's up to you. There are other options as well. There are free voice tools. I mean, obviously there's built-in dictation on the Mac or a PC. I just find Whisperflow so much better than those because it's smart dictation. If you make a mistake, it deletes the mistake and just gives you what you meant to say. The main reason to use it though is you give so much more context to the AI when using your voice. Think about if I had actually written a script for this lesson, how much shorter it would be than the ramble that you are now getting, because I'm just going off the top of my head. I use the slides as talking points and then I talk around them. I think that's a much more interesting, please tell me if I'm wrong, I think it's a more interesting experience for you rather than getting someone just talking robotically through the text on the slide. If I was typing, you'd get the me robotic version and it would be very boring and there wouldn't be nearly as much interesting stuff there. When you talk, because you can fit 4 times as much into the same amount of time than if I were typing, it's 4 times faster, you just convey so much more richness of context. So when you're doing this, when you're adding context about your business, your products and services, and you and the way you work and your team or even your family, using voice is a much faster way to convey that information. But it's also a better way because you give the AI better context. And context, as we'll talk about in the next section, is everything. So Claude's going to ask you a bunch of questions. You're going to give it a bunch of answers. If you really insist, you could type, but I would urge you to try using some voice tool. I think if you use Whisperflow, you get the first 2,000 words for free or something. So you could use this free version of Whisperflow just for this little bit and test it out. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then it's going to do the clever stuff of turning that into a nicely formatted markdown file, which is, again, what that .md stands for your personal profile, your business overview, and a few other documents, depending on how much information you give it, really. It is well worth spending the 5 or 10 minutes to get your brain set up properly. You will get better responses by doing this. Essentially, it helps you personalize the brain. So instead of a generic AI reply, you get more and more specific stuff to you. As you use the brain, you'll be thinking, oh, that reply was a bit crap. You know what? I bet if I gave you this additional information, you wouldn't give me such a bland, boring reply. Hey, brain, I need to give you some more information about that particular product because you clearly don't seem to know very much. Where should we save this? Where, if I give you all of this information, which markdown file are you going to put that in, please, brain? Let me know. Let me know when you're ready. Great. Ask me some questions. Extract all of this additional information out of my brain and store it in the 80/20 brain, please. That's the mental model you're going through. You can always edit these later. You could open them. That's why we use cursor, so we can see the files down the left-hand side. We can click on a file, we can edit it, we can tweak it. You can edit it manually, but it's so much easier to do with voice. All right, in the next one, I want to talk about the sync command, or the sync skill, which helps you save and pull information from your GitHub account. See you there.